Went down last night on Carlos King's Monday night show between Claudia Jordan and Blue, and also Claudia gave an apology to Pinky, y'all. Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So, today we are talking Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 17. And as you guys know, it is, time to put a pin in the season as the Part 3 reunion episode has commenced. We have a couple of clips to get into as far as Claudia Jordan addressing Pinky, saying on Candy's show that she wasn't feeling the fact that her pregnancy was leaked, right? And then we also have to get into a back and forth between Blue and Claudia Jordan, in which they're not on the same page as far as the Porsha and Shamia of it all. And I just got to say this. As many years as Claudia Jordan has been on radio, has been in media, and everything else, covering a variety of hot topics and different things, I'm very shocked at how she just gives zero grace to Porsha at all. How much she can't stand Porsha, and it's interfering to the point where it's like, it's difficult to listen through the commentary, but because you hate this woman so bad, and the reason that you hate her is over a man from over a decade ago. Because the reality of it to me seems like Porsha was single. She wasn't as attached to that man that y'all went out on a double date with. And I think the other man was feeling Porsha. I think it pisses people off that these other men are interested in Porsha and want to entertain Porsha, and whatever the case may be. And so y'all think by SLUT shaming her and having all this vitriol for her is doing something. But what I don't understand is it's coming from the same people who, you know what I'm saying, don't necessarily have this pristine past themselves. Don't exactly, you know what I'm saying, have anything that is, not damaging in their closet. So it's very weird and hypocritical that y'all want to paint Porsha as the face of anything that is an SLUT, as anything that is a liar, or anything is this and that. But y'all don't want to look in your own backyard of some of y'all behavior or some of even y'all other friendships that are way worse and way more problematic. So I just got to say that. So we're going to get into these clips, you guys, and see what happened. This is courtesy of Carlos King's Instagram channel and everything else that I want to get into.
Pinky Cole was on Candy Speak on it. He did say that, she was trying to hide in her house and enjoy her pregnancy, and that she wasn't too happy that it was announced before she was able to do so. So Claudia, I wanted you to speak first on it and tell us what your thoughts were on Pinky's comments.
I want to first say my apologies to Pinky. Someone sent me the clip and said, girl, and I was like, oh my God. So I watched just the clip. I didn't watch the whole interview. And I didn't know that she was bothered by it because she, puts on such a, a very strong front, like she's unbothered.
So this is an interesting approach, because when Claudia Jordan was drug up and through here for originally said somebody on the right couch is pregnant, and then she was about to give more details, and Carlos King had shut her down. The backlash of that, basically Claudia Jordan was like, don't y'all want tea? Don't y'all want inside information? Da-da-da-da-da. She completely doubled down. There was no apologies, and this was after knowing that Pinky was basically upset and had already at least went on one interview basically alluding to the fact that, she's not feeling how some things are being moving, right? But this was before she could officially confirm that it indeed and was in fact her that was pregnant. Let's continue.
So the first thing I did, to me, what was the most important, I don't care what everybody else says on the internet. I sent Pinky, first of all, at first I text Dustin. I was like, can you tell Pinky to please check her DMs? So I sent Pinky a 1 minute long voice memo saying, hey, just saw the clip. I apologize to you. It was never my intent to hurt you or even say your name. Even though Carlos did stop me on the show, my intent was always going to be like a mean little teaser for the reunion. And I definitely gave my apology to her, and said, first and foremost, that was like the most important, told I was happy for her, and that it definitely wasn't my intent. So I did apologize for that. Secondly, Kelly did not tell me this. None of the housewives told me this information.
It's interesting, this switch up, because of Pinky being on Candy's platform, when ultimately she felt this way even before she got to Candy's platform. So I'm of a little bit confusion. And then I'm also confused because of the fact that you basically assumed, because Pinky, quote unquote, has this quote unquote hard exterior, that she was going to be cool with this. Now here's the thing as for the source. Only Claudia Jordan and the source knows who actually revealed this information. So I was never expecting Claudia to reveal and or expose if in fact it was a housewife, but you did basically confirm that it was Kelly in your DMs about giving Phaedra's company 10 stacks because Kelly did not like the narrative that she quote unquote was too broke to pay for any legal services as it pertained to the issue with her ex-husband and all the things. So logically, people were like, this is another example where this is something that was discussed by an alleged source that has also made it onto the reunion episode. And that is why many people thought that this did come from a housewife. But even if it did, I was not expecting Claudia Jordan to confirm in any capacity because ultimately that exposes the relationship. Let's continue.
I will put that on God. I'll put that on my family. If I had kids, I'll put them on my kids. I'll put them on my cats. Kelly, I got to clear Kelly's name. Kelly never told me that.
I mean, after watching Big Brother for so many years, you know what I'm saying? People swear on their kids. They swear on God. They swear on their grandchildren. They swear on the dog. They swear on the cat, everything else. Meanwhile, they lie. Here's the thing, right? I noticed that you're saying, hey, I want to protect Kelly. I want to defend Kelly. But in your attempt to expose Porsha last week, you also exposed Kelly that she may have been entangled, you know what I'm saying, with some people while she was still legally married to her ex-husband. But I guess all of that was okay because it was all about the vitriol against Porsha. Let's continue.
Never told me that about Pinky. It was someone that was behind the scenes and a male. That's all I'm saying.
So then was it Jarvis? Are you trying to allege that it's a makeup artist or a stylist or, you know what I'm saying? Because here's the problem, right? We just had this issue on Summer House where somebody leaked actual reunion audio. And they did an internal investigation and found out that it was somebody, you know what I'm saying, that actually worked for the network. Like it wasn't like a makeup artist, a stylist, or whatever the case may be. And you know, it was handled. Hopefully, y'all better hope that Bravo, NBC Universal doesn't decide to conduct an actual investigation to get to the bottom of this, because ultimately what has happened is there was at least 2 scenes from 2 different parts of the reunion that had made it onto the show as direct things that were said on the Monday night episode. And I thought people were not supposed to be allegedly leaking scenes, leaking storylines and everything else, and not addressing potential scenes and storylines that have taken place on a show until the episode actually airs. So that is where, for me, it's like, I don't know. Let's continue.
I'm not saying anything else. I never reveal my sources. Y'all know that. So that's as much as y'all gonna get.
Except for when it came to Porsha and that man that apparently shares some type of, you know what I'm saying, entanglement with Kelly as well. That was okay to expose that source because you were hoping that it was going to bring all this vitriol and negativity and a hate train and smear campaign against Porsha, and that actually didn't happen, right? Let's continue.
But I in my need to clear Kelly's name, I do have to say that. Now, Kelly said on your interview that we chat all the time. We don't chat all the time. We had a few little voice memos.
No, somebody's lying here because here's the thing. How can Kelly say on Carlos King that you and her talk all the time, that you and her have conversations all the time or have been in communication all the time, and you're trying to diminish this to a couple of voice notes? Somebody here is lying. Kelly said a completely different tune on Carlos King. So, and then you also said last week that Kelly sent you the DM that she allegedly had sent Phaedra's firm, Phaedra's company, whatever, 10 stacks, that it wasn't completely pro bono, all this and all that. And that scene also appeared on the next reunion episode. So it's not just a couple of voice notes here and there. I definitely think there's a lot more communication that is being led on, and I think what Claudia is attempting to do is to try to distance herself and make it seem like she is not talking that often to these former housewives like she is. But ultimately, it seems like there is a clear alliance for these housewives that are no longer on the show to form an active smear campaign against Porsha and try to, you know, incite more hate, more negativity, and more things to happen because they do not like Porsha's position on this show. Let's continue.
On Instagram, but let me be very clear. 60% of the women on that show and I have been in contact. Okay? I've talked to, they have my phone number. I've talked to them. Kelly's not the only person I talked to, but not one person on the reunion, on the show, gave me any inside information about the reunion or about the pregnancy. I put that on everything. So strike me down.
But this isn't true though, Claudia. This isn't true because, again, last week on Carlos King episode, you talked about a specific DM that Kelly wanted to send to you that said that she gave Phaedra's firm 10 stacks, that it wasn't completely pro bono. That particular scene ended up on a reunion episode. So there is at least 2 instances where directly something that you said has ended up on 2 separate reunion episodes on Bravo. So that is revealing a storyline, revealing scenes that were filmed at the reunion. And I stand on the fact that there are some people who are not happy, mainly Shamia and Kelly, and whether it was them or people affiliated with them, wanted to is get back, rain on Pinky's parade, that she's pregnant, number one, that originally you did not give an F about the reaction until Pinky went on Candy Show, and 2, trying to diminish your connection, your relationship to Kelly, and how thick as thieves as y'all are, to make it seem like she's not feeding all of this because y'all don't like Porsha. Now we got to get into the second clip in which Blue and Claudia get into it over, guess what? Porsha. Let's continue.
No, I don't even know how people can sit there and I could not even stomach that. Like, I feel like I want to tear up now about what happened. Like, I get what y'all saying. I guess maybe I'm too nice. Maybe I'm a sucker. I don't know. But like,
not too nice. It's just a different way of moving. They're both equally valid.
Yeah, I don't think there's I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
They're equally valid. That's the point. Is they're equal. Yeah. Though. There's not a diminished value. They're equal.
Someone I had many, many years with shares on national television. She lost her last embryo. I could be mad at this bitch. This bitch gets on my fucking nerves. But there'd be something in me that would be like, but.
No, I'm not feeling this or featuring this. So what has happened when Shamia, her surrogate had the miscarriage, right? And that was the last male embryo or whatever the case may be. So what has happened is because Porsha was not asked directly what her reaction is, there is this false narrative that she didn't care or she didn't feel anything when we saw Porsha have empathy for what K. Michelle went through and everything else that got twisted into something nefarious, right? Where people felt as though Porsha was trying to, insinuate something wrong and all of the things. And the cut to Porsha looked like she was concerned. But again, if you are caught up in your hatred of Porsha, you're going to feel this way. And let's keep it a buck. Even if Porsha did respond, if Andy had asked her directly what was her reaction to that, y'all would twist it and say that Porsha was being fake and performative. Let's continue.
Yeah, they're arguing shit about their mother. Their mother's been beefing since the 80s. Their mom's been beefing. Okay, we've been knowing this.
The objective was to take down Porsha at any cost. You have a situation where Porsha unknowingly knew the extent of how much Shamea was holding on to all these grudges behind her back. And I'm sure, depending on whether or not she had beef with the housewives at the time, they didn't tell her up front always whenever Shamea was talking cash SHIT behind her back. But this is bigger than the moms. This is an issue, whereas Shamea had played in Porsha's face all these years and truly never let go of whatever issues they did have for the sake of eventually becoming a peach and then all of a sudden turning on Porsha. That is the root of the issue, because no actual childhood friend would do that. And as for the moms beefing since the 80s, please tell that to Shamea and her mom, because it's not Porsha that is bringing up the mom's beef. And even in the scene that Porsha had with Mama Diane had nothing to do with Shamea's mom. It had everything to do with the fact that why is Shamea once again sitting in another room full of people talking disparaging about you, and she's not shutting it down? Just like what happened in past seasons with Kandi and the Candy Coated clique. Let's continue.
And they bring up the mothers. They both said shit about each other's mothers, and it ain't the end of the world what they said either.
This is where I disagree. And this is where your allegiance to Shamea, Claudia Jordan, is the issue. Shamea brought on first last season with Cynthia, basically tried to put out the false narrative that Mama Diane was not as good a friend to Shamea's mom, in the same realm that social media has felt that Porsha has not been a good friend to Shamea. However, for all this time, it was Porsha that was the peach holder, so we never saw the full extent of this friendship. But it's clear to me, based on the last couple of seasons and how Shamea has been around Porsha's ops, that she's not innocent either. And ultimately, if you are going to be calling somebody's mama out her name and not furthermore try to utilize somebody's child against them in your beef, you're just trying to tear everything down, you're trying to burn everything to the ground, then that is an issue. Then we have a problem. Some people don't play about their mamas. Some people don't play about their kids. And it's not fair to Mama Diane or Pilar. They're on the show as a support system for Porsha. They're not on the show to fuel storylines with the other ladies. And that is the problem that ultimately has, Porsha completely done, because Mama Diane has been a part of this show as long as Porsha, and any storyline that she's been a part of has been directly about Porsha's personal life and Porsha's family, not about what issues she had with the other housewives. And that is why Porsha has the issue that she has. Let's continue.
For some of us,
we've had worse. We've had worse. You know what the end of the world is? What happened to Shamea's embryo? That's the end of the world for that baby.
Yes, losing the embryo is sad, Claudia Jordan. But also, does Shamea not have two beautiful daughters? See, it's not even about the reaction or non-reaction from the other housewives once Shamea, announced this. You were expecting a bigger sympathy train, a bigger support system for Shamea. You're trying to use this to erase all the messiness and all the two-faced behavior and all the things that Shamea started this season with the other housewives, and that's just not going to happen. And the reality of the situation is Shamea came onto the show making it seem like on Gerald's part, it was the end-all be-all to have this male son, to have a male heir to the throne and everything else. But because of the backlash of Gerald last season, Shamea basically took all of the Twitter points and all the Twitter opinions. It was basically like, oh, let's just make it seem like it's no big deal. Let's make it seem like I'm the one that's putting the pressure on myself to do this for my husband, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. So let's continue.
The irony is it's motherhood conversation. An embryo is about motherhood, and mother.
I don't want to argue with you about my opinion. I don't. Like, this is so sad, you guys. This is so sad to me.
Well, you're not arguing with her about
But you are pitying my opinion, though. So I get to talk about how my opinion is valid, though. So I don't want my opinion to be pitied.
I'm not saying your opinion's not valid.
Said that, like, I'm not, like, it's not as decent. Those words hold weight.
I never said that.
I understand, but it's to say that the decent thing to do, the alternative is also decent.
Not to me.
Why can't Claudia Jordan just own the fact that Shamea went too far with PORSHA? She went too far with PORSHA. That's it, and that's all. Shamea did not have a valid thing to beef with over PORSHA last season or this season. She could have created a storyline over PORSHA not recognizing her voice last season or never had, or PORSHA showing up late to her birthday party. Then this foolishness of bringing up PORSHA not attending one of the weddings, or PORSHA, you know what I'm saying, not wanting her on the show initially when she was going through a divorce with Cordell, or trying to utilize the moms as a storyline, or trying to invoke her daughter and try to invoke Dennis to secretly have her daughter still play with her daughter and have play dates. Meanwhile, you, your mom, and a cousin have all this vitriol and hatred for PORSHA. The entire family hates PORSHA's guts. They hate her guts. They want harm to happen to PORSHA. And why nobody is clocking that is beyond me. But you want a whole sympathy segment for the embryo, and I felt the segment did what it needed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. You know, well, I do understand. You're upset that the audience isn't feeling Shamea, but Shamea brought this on herself. If it's not a current issue of what actually happened on the season, and you keep referring to things that happened 8, 9, 10 years ago, and it is you that is going into things that happened with your moms back in the 80s, as Claudia Jordan likes to say, that is a you problem. That's not a PORSHA problem. That's not an audience problem. That is a Shamea problem, that she does not know how to navigate in this space as a peach holder and was better off as a friend of. Let's continue.
Exactly. And that's diminishing.
I'm not diminishing you, Blue. I just don't agree with you. And guess what?
As somebody who's a mother's
talking
girl,
over me, please.
But I'm saying
you're diminishing me talking.
Okay.
See, I don't like that, right? See, Claudia wants to do PR for Shamea, as she wants to send more hate PORSHA's way, and she does not want Blue to clock the fact that PORSHA can be valid and wanting nothing to do with Shamea in the fact that you brought up her mom and her child and you made disgusting allegations. This is the same Claudia Jordan that was pissed off if anybody tries to imply or insinuate anything about her past that is trying to put, you know what I'm saying, make her seem like she was a 304 back in the day. So it's very interesting that because it is PORSHA that is receiving this, is on the receiving end of not just her mom being accused of being a 304 and the daughter trying to be utilized as a pawn in the beef, that none of that matters. None of that is a big deal. And that we need to do an extended segment of these lost embryos as if there's not been previous lost embryos. It's not as if there has not been, as if this situation, Shamea is not allowed to have a child at all. Claudia is acting as though This is the last embryo for Shamia, and Shamia therefore is not not able to have any children at all. She's trying to make it seem like Shamia is childish. Well, she is. I mean childless. But that's not the case. You have 2 beautiful daughters. Shamia has 2 beautiful daughters. What are we doing? Let's continue.
We have many times not agreed on this panel. And I don't want you to think that I'm diminishing you as a person.
As a mother's girl, it feels that way. I will be honest. Because for me, my mother is my world in the way an embryo would be the world for Shamia. And because my mother is my world, that makes me as emotional as you are about this embryo.
I could
and
understand
both emotions are valid.
if it was a one-way thing where it was all this season was Shamia coming for Porsha's mother. I would 1000% agree with you. I'd be like, you damn right. You damn right. Because I can't hear you because we're talking at the same time.
You see that? Y'all see that? How Claudia is continuing to cut off Blue, doesn't really care or give a F about Blue's opinion in this because Claudia is interfering with her PR campaign for Shamia. Claudia wants you to think that Shamia has no kids. That Shamia is childish. I keep calling her childish, but she is. But childless. She keeps wanting to paint this narrative as though Shamia is childless. And that there's no more embryos and Shamia doesn't have any kids at home with her husband. And she, in fact, does have kids at home with her husband, right? And it's interesting that you had no smoke for, again, the comments that were made about Porsha's daughter. Even last season, Shamia was up there talking about, oh, well, Drew has to, work with Dennis to pay for, Pilar's college tuition and everything else. So that's going to help out Porsha and Dennis and all this and all of that. Like, there's been so much slick shade about Porsha's family and the obsession with the Porsha of it all that Claudia can't see that can have lasting negative impact. All that stuff that you throw on other people can come back on you. Kelli presenting a living above her means persona her first season, only for all of it to come crashing down, but is more concerned about, what is taking place with Angela Oakley's finances and how old her Range Rover is and all this other foolishness when you don't even got a place to stay. But it's wild to me that Claudia does not want to see this from Blue's perspective because she does not want to accept anybody that is going to provide any nuance or any defense of Porsha, because it has to be hate Porsha 24/7. Nobody wants to, look at Porsha the last 2 seasons compared to her first several seasons on the show and acknowledge that there's been a change in Porsha. There's been a light in Porsha. She's always had the fun, bubbly personality, but she genuinely has been trying to tell the truth to these people and trying to get along with these people and trying to bond with these people. And that was not the case when Porsha first came into the show because basically the cast wanted her to prove herself. Let's continue.
I'd be like, you damn right, because she deserves everything, because the whole season it's just been one way. They're both guilty, right? So I'm just like, they almost like watch each other. In my opinion, that's why there's 4 squares, so we can have 4 different opinions. I'm sorry if you think I'm diminishing you. I just don't agree with your take. And that's okay, because there's been many a show you don't agree with mine, and that's okay. We still gonna.
I don't disagree with your take. I think they can coexist equally. So that's the thing. I don't disagree with your take. I think your take is valid for you, and my take is valid for me. So that's actually the difference. I think they're both valid.
It's not the difference. We're saying the same thing. We just don't agree with each other.
Well, look, okay. I do want to say this because I don't want to spend so much real estate on just that moment. Because what I would like to do is.
I think Carlos King should have stepped in way sooner in that back and forth with Claudia and Blue. Carlos has to know by Neil, that Claudia hates Porsha's guts. You have to know by Neil that Claudia hates Porsha's guts, and there's nothing that Porsha can say, that Porsha can do, that is ever going to get Claudia Jordan to ease up off of Porsha. It's just not going to happen. It is not going to happen because you are still holding on to the fact that whatever happened in the past, all the way back to when Porsha got her divorce from Cordell. I believe the real story is that other man that y'all went out on a double date with was also interested in Porsha. You know what I'm saying? And y'all felt a certain type of way because the guy that her and Kelly allegedly have shared or have dealt with, it didn't seem like it was anything serious. It sounds like this is a friends with benefits type of situation. It sounds like this is an entanglement type of situation that if you're single, I'm single, we'll hit each other up, we'll make it pop. But outside of that, if you want to pursue a relationship, if you want to go get married, if you want to do this and do that, you know what I'm saying? You're free to do that because we've never established anything that was substantial, that was more than what our entanglement was. And you're holding on to that for that man all these years? Like, it's weird to me. It is very weird to me. It's very weird. And also, you are putting your other relationships with the other housewives who specifically do not like Porsha on a pedestal. So you're never going to see it for Porsha. You're good friends with Kenya. You're cool with Shamia. You've already addressed that, according to Kelli, not you, that you and Kelli are basically, y'all talk all the time. That's what Kelli's saying. Kelli's saying y'all talk all the time. So that is at least 3 housewives that we know for a fact don't like Porsha, don't see it for Porsha, and add Marlo to the mix, and sometimes Candy, and y'all got a whole show of Porsha haters. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got a whole show of Porsha haters, and you do not like the fact that there's not this sympathy train for Shamia, so you're trying to utilize the loss of the embryo to create a sympathy train for Shamia, and that's just not the case. You know what I'm saying? I think Blue saw through that and was like, we need to be putting more emphasis on the fact that you sat here and accused my mom of sleeping with your father and also tried to drag my daughter into the beef with us, and I did not do any such things to you. Like that's what it is. So ultimately, you guys, that is it for this video. I need y'all to do me the biggest favor. I need y'all to do y'all biggest one. And that is to hype the video. Hype the video, please. Hype the video like you never hyped a video before in your life. There is that. That is it. That is all. It's Todos SV now. It's finito. It's the end of the road. It's the end of the line for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post the content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.